Casa De Klub. I like that. Nice.
So we practice it, but then most importantly, like we were always outside as kids.
Yeah.
And I have younger brothers, Jared and Justin, we're inside in an area this big. We're probably from the couch over, and we've got wiffle golf balls at the strike zone, kind of almost what they're doing now in competition baseball with the wiffle ball. They can move all over. Well, we got the plastic pipe from an old weight set is taped. That's our bat. We get chandeliers in the porch is all demolished, and that's what we did. Well, to make it fair, I had to hit left-handed.
Till that wasn't fair anymore.
You have to hit right-handed. Yeah. So it's actually just the course of time of utilizing it and getting through the ebbs and flows. And then finally my senior year in high school, I had about 20 at-bats left-handed. Georgia Tech saw me at that point when I was hitting left-handed. And I was signed there as a switch hitter. And then shortly after my 20 at-bats, my high school coach made me just hit right-handed again.
Right time, right place, like you said.
It was always, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. Switch it. Like you literally have Jekyll, you have Hyde. You have your strong hand on one side, your strong hand's now on the bottom side. It's on the top side on one side. You could stand there, I could flip you a ball, and you could go to throw. You're not actually gonna do this. Now you got to throw left-handed, and you're like, how do I do the same thing?
Yeah.
Because you naturally stack it, to your power leg or to your non-power leg. So process of coordinating what's not coordinated is a huge part of it, just besides just the hand-eye coordination.
So for you, did your left-handed swing take more maintenance throughout the course of a year than right-handed swing?
Yes, and then the ebb and flows where the game teaches you came up, and then played against lefties to start. I know just right-handed hitter played with Hatterberg, and he played against righties and didn't have a whole lot of bats, a lot of practice time. And then the year later he gets hurt, and then start getting the opportunities of at bats. And then at bats you get more one side. You grow up, you get equal rounds of batting practice, left-handed, right-handed, and then you get into pro ball, and then it's like you got 3 or 4 rounds, and you better split it, or else you're not getting it. The switching part of it has changed over time according to my health. I always try to do the same amount of maintenance work, and cage work and stuff from both sides, but you have a tendency to, whatever side you're struggling from or you're facing more, you have to do that. Well, then I had Dale Swain, who was here when I started to become more consistent with it. Dale's like, you have to take swings out of the field right-handed too. Like, you have to. This has to be part of your offside. You need to get out there and do that and practice some of your strengths opposed to always practicing your weaknesses. So maybe spend that day, we did our maintenance work underneath, spend that day, have a longer first round right-handed, boom, let it eat for a little while, because now all of a sudden in the 7th, 8th, you're going to see Mike Stanton coming in and flip you around, and you have to be ready now. I think that's the hardest part of the switch hitting, is coming to reality is that I don't have 2 equal sides and 2 equal parts, and I have 2 different human beings I have to deal with.
Right. So your preparation changed throughout your career. Like if you were feeling better on one side, you kind of wanted to tinker with that until you had coaches come to you and say, hey, we need to keep it consistent with both.
Yeah, I would spend probably more time because it was more volatile left-handed, but early on it was probably equal, and then I got to a point where right-handed, my swing didn't change, thoughts didn't change, it was just the same maintenance. It was a constant always adjustment left-handed until that solidified, and then you can maintain both easily.
Were you thinking the same thing from both sides of the plate? Like
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not with your cues?
Yeah, well, you have, one thing I always stress with guys and is you have different dominant eyes too.
Mm-hmm.
You see the ball differently, and you have to know what eye dominant you are according to where your head is facing. And once again, not learned by me, but taught to me, so I didn't understand why I couldn't see the ball out away from me left-handed when I wasn't somewhat open till somebody's like, you're when I down, oh, I'm left-eyed, so my head has to be turned more. Where I stand there right-handed and it's already facing.
there.
And understanding that along with biomechanically what your dominant hand is, and you have different rudders and oars to use, where coordinating what is not coordinated. So like top hand hitting left-handed is my uncoordinated hand. My strong hand's on the bottom. There's different strengths to pull and push, where you flip the other side, it flips the other way around. You have different levels, not just ground force contact.
Switch hitting aside, how different are the approaches in terms of hitters when you played as opposed to now? Like, what were you guys thinking back then? You hear a lot of guys say, I wanted to get on top of the ball, whereas now it seems like everyone wants to hit home runs, hit the ball in the air.
I think since the, yes, that's metrically, pull side errors where things come from, but there's the teams that win and do those things have the ability to put balls in play. It's not just about that. And in the teams that won, the last time we won, and 18 guys are able to put balls in play. I think we gotten past that. The live ball is in when the balls were quote juiced.
Yep.
And everybody's going oppo and hitting the ball in opposite bullpens. Things have leveled out a lot more. And things, there's been a shift back. Like people aren't taking balls down and away, good quality pitch down and away and going oppo with it. And so it's been a shift. It's still there of, guys have to put the ball in play.
Yeah.
And you do that. So it's more from just straight uphill to kind of a mix. If you're facing Shane Boz and you're uphill, you're not going to catch one of them.
Yeah. I think it was probably guys realizing not everybody's that hitter too now, right? Whereas like there's a point in time where every hitter thought they could be, that pull side lift guy, and it's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, different dynamics of pitching. Sink was in at that point, and then forcing came in, sticky came in. People found a way to get an extra 200 miles an hour, 200 revolutions better. Game adjust back, and
It's all cyclical.
And it's cyclical. So, it still comes down to your ball moves horizontally, you're better horizontally. Your ball moves vertically, you're better vertically.
Yep.
So being a coach now, you don't think you guys are coaching that much different than the way you were coached when you played?
They are. Like the terminology is different, the different stresses, but then when it comes down to it, like there's
Trying to get guys.
in our hitting department does a great job of stressing the opportunities to put balls in play and to do those things, and to sometimes singles are good, and it's about winning games opposed to just numbers.
Yeah.
It's team to team though, right? I mean, some teams have different philosophies than others right now.
Yeah. But I think to his point, the good teams are probably pretty consistent in that they're a grind 1 through 9 in their lineup.
Absolutely. And those want to give us most trouble on all right, people that can work counts, football's a play, and you can do both. Yeah, it's troublesome.
Yeah.
Do a little catching demo.
All right, you don't have to squat if you don't want, but
Sorry, how can you do one knee? We don't squat.
I know that you weren't the biggest fan of catching wake. What, aside from just the ball moving and how late it moved and all that kind of stuff, like, what was the biggest hurdle of catching a knuckleball? Or, I mean, the glove's different, your setup different, if a guy's running, he's got such a big jump, like, for you, what was the biggest, like, change to deal with?
I think that came through coaching through the course of time. So my first major league start was Wake.
Your first time catching in the big leagues was off Wake.
Oh yeah, that's actually how I made the team. Jimmy Layritz, who was phenomenal with me. I ended up making the team. I played the second half of almost every spring game and hit well enough and caught well enough that's literally how I made the team. And then I was playing against lefties, so my first start was in Oakland with all the room behind me in Wake's throwing. I never
Perfect situation.
Yeah, you don't have a whole lot of experience with it. Like growing up, I grew up fastball, curveball, slider, occasional split guy, and you don't have the experience, and we didn't have a whole lot of coaching. And then, I caught Wake for a while, and then I got hurt in '01, and then they brought in Doug, and Wake had still been back and forth in the bullpen and kind of settled in as a starter. Well, even the course of Wake in the bullpen, it was in my second or third year when Hatterberg got hurt, I played in a course of like 52 straight games because sometimes I had to go in with the guy, like first time I played back in Atlanta, bases juice, chippers up, bring in the pitcher, the righty, and the catcher. Like, it wasn't
It's a dual substitution.
No. And then so when Doug got, it was a battle for me. And I remember being in Cleveland, I think I had 6 pass balls in the first inning. It's like the depth perception wasn't good until it got dark.
Yeah.
I hit the first buildings. But, it was a battle, but like you grinded through it. And Doug got here, Wake settled in very well as a starter. And Doug performed. And so Grady, the next year, he's like, hey, Tech, he goes, how about, he did so well with him, why don't we give you that day off?
Sort of like a built-in day off, right?
Built-in day off.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's good. Well, it's great when
Mental day off as much as anything, right?
he pitched a day game on Saturday, you have till Sunday, but it wasn't good. He pitched Friday, and you always have the day game on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was great. So, for whatever that was, year or two, next thing you know, you don't catch them, and then it's the 14th inning. We're playing extra innings
just gonna
in
say.
Seattle, and it's like, well, we have to bring Wake in. Now you have to catch them. Like, now it's hard because you don't go through it. And then same thing happened in '04 in the playoffs. Thank God I caught the last one because if
So you caught him in
Extra innings in
you caught him in
elimination
04,
game,
right? In that playoff series?
yeah, the only time I caught him after Doug started catching him, and then other people started catching him, whether it be Katara, Salty, Victor, Cashy, that I didn't catch him. I did catch him extra inning games. He had to be used. It's like, oh, okay, this isn't really fair.
Yeah.
Do you even call locations with him or no? You just let it dance?
Yes and no.
So he could throw that thing at a location too. He wasn't just letting it play off the middle.
Hard one, soft one. And early on in Wakes, he threw a short little cut. He had a 4-seam. He worked real hard, but he actually had a really good curve. And we found out one day in spring, he'd always have, every now and then, you'd have a guy that like really gave him trouble. Frank Thomas, Aaron Rowan, some people just gave him trouble. So Dave Justice. So we'd like, all right, we mix this up and just try not to show him the same speed or the same pitch. And then he had some success. Well, we found out that a lot of times guys would switch over and hit them. Switchers would hit them in a way they're not, maybe mess up their swing. So like, like a Bernie Williams may hit them right. So, well, when you're hitting right-handed, you're a right-handed pitcher, what's going to play if they don't ever see? Spin. And so we'd mix them in and found out that it really helped, and they didn't see the same knuckleball over and over, even though he changed speeds. So he had calls for a hard one, a real slow one, and his regular.
Pretty few and far between though. Like, we haven't seen many knuckleballers since then.
No.
I don't think it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, let alone command it to where, guys can throw a play and catch, but talk about trying to command it and throw strikes with it.
Yeah.
That was probably the funnest team meeting we ever had. We're in Minnesota, we're struggling. I'm a young cop. And guys are talking, John Valentine's talking to someone else. And Pedro stands up, he's talking. He's like, I have so much respect for you, talking to Tammy in front of all of us. He goes, you go out there with nothing. He goes, when you have nothing, you have nothing. He said, I go out there, I don't have my fastball, I have my curveball, I have my cutter, I have my changeup, but you go out there, you have nothing. And when you don't have nothing, you have nothing. He was complimenting him because of his aptitude, and like you don't have the ability to
Go to your next pitch.
readjust or have velo that day or something else, but it's just a testament. Like, you're really going out there with a 78 mile an hour or 76 mile an hour floater and having guys trying to hit the ball to the moon.
That's all you got.
How many years did he start? Because you said he turned into a starter.
He started on and off, and he was, if I ever was a starting pitcher, especially in his younger days, that's like the team I want to be on. Because start, day off, be the guy in the bullpen, he could go in the bullpen and eat innings.
Bounce back.
Like if somebody has like a 2-3 inning start, like saves relievers, saves starters. He just, after his, it was just like a bounce back, according to personnel of whether he was starting the bullpen. He closed at a point, which wasn't fun, but until he really settled in, and they stopped the transition with him when he and Doug worked so well together.